For another view on this, are the poor and middle-class Americans getting hosed? This week on PBS, Tavis Smiley running a series that says yes, they are. First, some stats. There are about 46 million Americans living below the poverty line, 15% of the population. In 2010, $560 billion, 16% of the entire federal budget was spent trying to help the poor. That's up an astounding 5,400% since 1970. But here's a stat that may provide some perspective on poverty. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, about 9% of Americans have some kind of substance dependence. Most of those people cannot earn a living. So let's do the math. 15% poor, 9% addicted. Maybe poverty is not exclusively an economic problem. Joining us now from Los Angeles are Tavis Smiley and Professor Cornell West, who teaches at Princeton University. So, Professor, we'll begin with you. Where am I going wrong here?
Well, I think you're going wrong because I think the lens that you're using still are not accenting the fact that 1% of the population on 40% of the wealth. We've had 100% income growth go to the top 10%. 1% of the population had 81% of the income growth in the last 25 years. What does that mean? Those brothers and sisters there at Do It Plaza, I was just blessed to be there with them. I'm blessed to be part of their movement. They're not calling for entitlements. They want jobs with a living wage. They know that 1 out of 4 corporations do not pay taxes. There's $2.1 trillion of offshore tax havens for the well-to-do. It's working people who must both pay the taxes, and they're also losing jobs. So you have to look at it, my dear brother Bill, from the vantage point of poor and working people and the ways in which the oligarchs and plutocrats that you tend to want to promote rather intensely, not only doing well, but been too greedy, my brother.
If we're chasing Stanley O'Neill down the street, I don't think I'm promoting anybody who's doing untoward things about capitalism. Look, it's not that the message is wrong. Wait a minute, Professor. No filibustering here. It's not that the message is wrong. It's not that the message is wrong. We do need to tighten up the loopholes. Everybody knows that. Barack Obama has chosen not to do that. You have to basically have a flat tax where everybody pays. There aren't these kind of dodges. You can't park money overseas, that kind of stuff. Yes, but what many of these protesters, and maybe you, but I want to direct my next question to Tavis, want is you want the government to forcibly seize the assets of the oligarchs, as you put it, and then distribute it to other people whom they deem worthy of the money the oligarchs have. That's socialism, and that's not going to work here. What do you say, Tavis?
3 things. Number 1, it wasn't socialism, apparently, when we bailed out the banks in the first place. That pretty much fits a textbook definition of socialism, what we did for the banks, and you don't want to acknowledge, number 1. Number 2, you're right about the fact that Stanley O'Neill respectfully should have been chased down the sidewalk. He should be asked to account for this, which raises a couple questions. Number 1, I know you did not mean.
What do you mean I lied about it? Wait a minute, Tavis. Don't call me a liar.
I said you're right.
What did I lie about?
Bill, I said you were right. R-I-G-H-T, you were right.
I was right about it. I apologize.
Yes.
Look, we got a remote here. I'm in Faneuil Hall. I'm calm.
Everybody lies. Bill, you lied too, brother.
I don't lie, Professor. So there you go.
I don't know about that.
I'm right about O'Neill. But I had to correct the professor who was saying that I'm promoting that, and I'm not.
You're right about.
Let's get down. Wait. Stop.
Question yet, Bill?
All right. Let's get down about what these protesters want. And President Obama himself, his policy is income redistribution, Tavis. That's what it is. And that's what you and the professor want. You want forced income redistribution.
I'm still going to finish my point. You're right to go after Stanley O'Neill. I know you didn't mean to do this. I don't want to believe you meant to do this. But Stanley O'Neill, there are 4 or 5 black CEOs in this country. You choose a guy at Merrill Lynch to make him the poster guy.
Knock it off with the black business, will you?
Bill, why Stan O'Neill?
This was one of the most egregious things that happened. We treat everybody the same here, Tavis.
No,
we treat everybody the same. It doesn't matter whether they're black or white.
Bill, the bottom line is that what we're talking about here is fairness. We're talking about justice here. We're talking about not protecting Wall Street. Not one. They've been arresting protesters, Bill, left and right. Arresting protesters left and right. Now the talk on Fox News is that it's costing taxpayers money for police to do their job. Not one bankster, not one, Bill. They can arrest hundreds of protesters, but not one banker has gone to jail to pay for his crimes.
Because they didn't violate any laws, Tavis. They
Oh, how do you know? How do you know there's been no investigation? There's been no investigation of all the predatory lending.
All right, wait a minute. Well, hold it,
insider trading. Why would you say something like that, brother? You don't even have the evidence. You don't know.
Professor, hold it. If you're going to make an accusation, Professor, as a learned academic, that O'Neill or the other fat cats on Wall Street broke the law, back it up. What law did they break?
Oh.
Yes?
If we were able to engage in investigation and look at what was going on between 2007 and 2008, my hunch is we would find some criminal behavior, my brother. Yes, but we can't get to it.
Maybe that's right, but you can't make an accusation on a hunch. All right,
Bill, they've investigated.
You just heard. They've got major texts out there. Major texts out there. Right. You're a reader.
You guys,
You're a reader. You know that.
You guys come up. You take your law school at Princeton or wherever. You develop an illegality, and I will put it on the air. Now, Tavis, poverty in America.
Yes.
This is the focus of your PBS series this week. I just presented stats that show that poverty is not just an economic problem, it is a social problem and a social responsibility problem, personal responsibility problem. You know that's true, yet you don't mention that.
No, first of all, that's not true, Bill. Here again, do your homework. You just told Dr. West to do some work, do yours. You've not obviously seen the special. You've not read the transcripts. We talked to persons who are substance abusers this week, so you're wrong again, my friend. We do talk about that issue in the special. Check it out, number one. Number two, it is a social problem, but it's also a political problem. The ranks of the poor in this country are growing exponentially, most of them women and children. With almost 50 million Americans are living below the poverty line, it's not just substance abusers. And the bottom line is that the worst thing you can do to any human being, of all races, of all colors, of all creeds, is to make them feel invisible, to make them feel disposable and afterthought, or
very specific question. I got 30 seconds.
We don't eradicate it.
All right, Tavis, yes. You calm down now, all right? You told me to calm down, you calm down. I got 30 seconds.
All right.
9% are addicted, all right? They can't work. They're going to be poor. You know it, all right? Also, child abuse, 70% of it is because of substance abuse. What do you do with those people, Tavis? Do you let them? Do the government pay them? What does the government do? Real quick.
I can answer in 15 seconds. One, you don't demonize them as you have done. Two, you don't criminalize poverty as you like to do. And number three, you find programs that work for those who have problems. But the majority of Americans, again, of all races, Bill, of all colors, of all creeds, are not substance abusers. They don't have work because Wall Street raped and pillaged the national treasury.
All right. Well, then I'm going to give you one more stat to think about. The unemployment rate among college graduates is 4.5%. All right. Now, we're going to have more with the guys, and it's a lively discussion, and we appreciate